So we've talked about your journey getting started. We know obviously you're doing about 65% of your revenue, and your 3 million last year was around retail arbitrage. So the next bit I kind of want to move on to is talk me through the operation right now. So 3 million a year retail arbitrage. My God, like I've done 3 million a year in the UK on online arbitrage, and that's one hell of a lot of work. Like, tell me about what I'd appreciate that roughly it's 65% retail, roughly 30% OA, and 5% wholesale, for example. And that wholesale is a bit too high. Tell me about the operation. What does that look like? Describe it to us.
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways to really do RA. One is you go to a town, a city, wherever, and you do everything in the town, right? So I go to this nearby suburb and I'll go to the Walmart there, and I go to the Target there, and I go to the Walgreens there, and I kind of do one of everything in that town, and that's my day. Then I go home and that's it. What we like to do is we like to really kind of chase sales, right? So we're looking to get the best buy cost we can. We don't mind going deep on product, and we have some space now to potentially store some things if needed. So we will, there's stores we might hit only once or twice a year, but we're hitting them on the best sale that store offers all year. There are some things we do a little more regularly, bread and butter kind of stuff, but largely it is, hey, there's a big sale at store X and it lasts for 5 days, and we are going to, this is, a priority for the next 5 days. One of us is going to be doing this almost nonstop. And then we kind of relax and back off and, get through it, work through some prep, get some stuff sent in. And then sometimes the next sale's a while. Sometimes it's, you go back to back and things are crazy. But, really just trying to focus on keeping that buy cost down and taking advantage of the best opportunities available.
So just talk me through, you shared some really gold there, and I'd love to dig into that in a second. But operations wise, because I know about this, we've spoken about it off air, but I'd like to just share it now. Like, do you have a team? Or like a massive, you got your 4-car garage? Are there like 20 people in there doing stuff for you? Like, what does it look like, that side of it?
Yeah. So, Lexa and I work at the business. We do have some in-house prep help. We have 27 hours a week. So we have one lady that does 14, a gentleman that does 10, and another lady that does 3. So that makes 27. And that's our RA prep help. Beyond that, it's us. I do all the shipping, the repricing. We do have a bookkeeping service we use. We do use a repricer, of course, things like that. But
account health is.
Yeah, we have a
account health is outsourced as well.
But in terms of like, there's no VAs, nothing like that. I've had jobs before where I've managed lots and lots of people, and I'm not great at it. I don't want to do it. It doesn't interest me. So, for me, I like to just kind of be in the quiet and work and do my thing. And so we're not really trying to have any employees at all.
I think too, I want to just add, we talk a lot about how there's a variety of ways to do this, and, you got to find what works for you and what you want. And our goal is to be able to work from home. We don't want a warehouse. We like to be able to put the kids down and then go over and, do some work if we want to. That's our choice. That's how we like it. So when it comes to hiring prep help, they're at our house. Their cars are parked in the driveway when our kids are playing. And so we never wanted a ton of people. We never wanted to, it's the son of our babysitter or, that's who we hire. That's who we bring in to do all of this. So the way it looks now is kind of a reflection of what we wanted it to look like.
Yeah. No, I love that. And again, like, my God, obviously we spoke off air, and like, I'm very much like, travel the world, don't stay anywhere. And, again, building businesses which reflect the life that we want to live. And I think that's, by the way, that's one thing I love about the way the world is going. Like, we get choice now, and things like Amazon has really given us that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So you've got your 4-car garage, you've got 3 people who are doing a total of 27 hours of operations. You're doing 3 million in sales, which is like next level. Majority of it is RA, which is like mind blowing. I appreciate you're going to have really busy weeks, which is when you're like, there's a sale on, we need to go hit that sale massively, and then there's other weeks that's not so busy. Can I ask, like, hours wise, typical, like on a busy week, how many hours would you work? I'm sure I'd be like quite a lot. And then on the non-busy weeks, what would that look like? Can you explain that?
Yeah, I would say for me, a not so busy week might be 40 hours. A very busy week, it could push 100, but normally I think I'm falling in the 50 to 65 range. But I like to work, so it's something that I find some peace in that. I don't mind. For you, Lex?
Yeah, I'm gonna admit I've backed off a lot at this point. the whole goal of this was for me to be able to stay home with the kids as much as possible. So I do a little bit of OA here and there. I'll shop if there's a sale that needs shopping. I'll do whatever he needs of me, which probably amounts to, less than 20, easily less than 20 hours a week. And then come June, when school lets out, that will be even less because the kids will be home even more. So but during the growth phase, just, to make it make sense, during the growth phase, I was working whenever he was working. So we've gotten more efficient now where I can pare back my time.
And I think the reason why I asked that question is because I think it's really important to get quantifiables, but also number two is the fact that your idea of a quiet week is a typical working week. Your idea of a busy week is like a double working week. And the reason why I share that is because if anyone's thinking about getting into this model, or should you say any business in general, like, you've got to work. Like, there is no substitute for hustle, like, at all, because you're at a disadvantage. You've got to do the hard work and learn it at the same time, which means that it takes a long time to do. So, but massive respect to you and obviously what you've achieved and how you're getting on. I know we talked about this off air, but I'd love to bring it back on. Can you talk us through, I'd just like to kind of give a rundown of the numbers. So let's say, for example, 3 million, for example, what would be like an average sale price for you, like the unit? And can I ask, like, what would be the typical buy price and sell price of like a typical unit, if that makes sense?
Yeah, our average sale price, fluctuates depending on what we're sourcing, but it's usually falling in the high $20 range. So right now it's about $27 per unit is our average sale price. And cost of goods then overall runs right about 40%. You're about 40% cost of goods. Amazon fees and all of those things, it's pushed a little higher lately. But it's close to about 36-37% right now. So in theory, the rest you're left with is profit.
Fantastic. And the reason why I asked that, because if anyone's watching, the calculation I did off air, which I think is really important, was number one, I took 2 million as a number, and I said, right, divide that by 40%. So you're looking at like £800,000 cost goods. And then the idea is to say, well, if you're working 45 weeks a year, not 52, that's going to give you an average cost, should we say, of about £18,000 per spend per week. And then divide that by 5 days. That's going to give you about £3,500 spend per day. So you can kind of get an idea of what you're spending per day to generate those numbers, which is absolutely fantastic. And then I think I kind of did another calculation whereby I took your 1,700 per day and I divided it by the cost price, or should we say the average selling price, which is, I think it worked out about 65 units per hour. So you've got your prep guys doing about 1 unit per minute prepping. And I think we talked about you just slapping some stickers on sometimes. Some of them are a bit more work. You can kind of see the numbers there of what the operation looks like. And I think that's really important because you can break down your business and then work backwards. You talked a lot earlier on about going to stores at certain sale times, going to, high times and low times and going really deep. Is there any advice you have for people who are maybe like looking at that maybe in their area, like what you see, what works, and how you understand there's a sale on, like what does that look like?
Yeah, it's certainly not what we did at the beginning, right? At the beginning, it was a lot of test buying. It was a lot of, okay, let's buy 10. All right, let's get crazy. Let's buy 18, right? Just as you learn products and, for anybody out there, just try to be, I encourage people to be an expert in something. Like I pride myself on being really good at specific toy lines and, understanding what's coming and how things appreciate. And, she's pretty good with certain beauty brands. We try to really be experts. But yeah, I think at the beginning, it's hard to, you have to build up those reps, right? Every product you come across, it's another learning opportunity. And as you sell through things and succeed and fail and kind of go back and, do some postmortems on the fails and see why the wins were wins. You can really start to build and get more confidence when you source.
I think that's actually a good point too, because like we very much, we rolled all our own money we use credit cards, just because it's like easy. But we didn't take loans or anything for a while until just recently. So it was always snowballing our own money, and we were always the ones working. So working it. So we had to make the buying decisions. If they didn't work, it was, what did I, do wrong? And I think that was good because it didn't allow us, or maybe we just didn't, but we didn't jump into like these huge buying decisions too quickly. Like we kind of had no choice but to like niche down and gain like a lot of product knowledge before like we would feel comfortable dropping, 10 grand on something. And so I think it's hard because you never want to let a good opportunity pass, but it's also Amazon. There's going to be 20 more good opportunities probably in the next week. So if it doesn't feel right, if you're not sure, if you don't have the knowledge, like, sometimes it's good to take things a little easy.
From personal experience, I cannot stress it enough, become expert in certain areas. Why? Because it's your ability to make, but the way I look at Amazon is we are gambling effectively. We're taking risks. And the domain knowledge or the category knowledge that we develop decreases the risk we have when we're buying those products. We can never say that Amazon won't come on the listing and crash it down, even if it's below the buy price the whole time. But what we understand is by spreading our risk, and majority of the time we're going to win. We all make losses sometimes, but we're winning more than losing. And that domain knowledge is so important. And then like you said, test buys, that's starting out doing the little ones. And then once you've done that, you can start going really deep, where you're spending can I ask you a question? What's the most amount of money you've ever spent in one day? That'd be an interesting one.
Good question. There were a few days really early on this year in January. There's talk about a couple toy brands. One of them that I think I'm pretty good with is Lego. And I had a chance to buy, I can even say what it was, the Star Wars, the Boba Fett helmet. So that one just kind of ticked a lot of boxes for me, major franchise in Star Wars, something that kids and collectors would both like. It's part of a line. They have all these helmets now. And so just on that product alone, I spent $25,000 on it in one day, right at the end of life, already retired. And we've sold a few of those off, but most of them, I'm going to hold those until Christmas or maybe even Q1 of 24. And I bought some other things that day as well. So that's one that sticks out recently. But there's been a number of days like that, 5-figure days that just opportunities come up that you really can't pass up.
Yeah, it's not common in that it happens every week, but it's common in that it happens, enough, somewhat regularly.
It's like when a good opportunity comes up, you want to take advantage of it, and you want to take advantage really well, but you need the knowledge to be able to make that informed and educated decision. Yeah, I completely agree. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way? How can they do it? Find out more information about you?
So I am on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is @theother.alexa.
And I'm on Twitter. Mine is @thevillage_AMZ.
Fantastic. And if anyone's interested, I'll put them all down below, so do check them out down below. I just want to say, Alexa and Steve, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing, and obviously well done for what you've achieved. Mind blown, absolutely incredible. Hopefully I can come back in a year's time, see what's going on with the journey, and obviously see how far you've got, and obviously what other tips and tricks you can share with people. But for myself and everyone watching, thank you so much for sharing everything today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Tom.
Take care. Bye-bye.